Welcome back to your CO class. So I hope the classes are going well, and we have went through your various things like which are the different addressing modes, and we have completed the addressing modes complete thing, right from the basics to the advanced things, that is your arrays. Today we'll move ahead with the next topic, a very important topic, wherein we will try to touch upon how the code is executed. Till now we have seen the various codes, and today we'll try to check upon what are the various codes and how it could be executed. Okay, in order to understand that, we will be having something called as assembly language. So today friends, we'll discuss about this new topic, which is assembly language. So what is this assembly language? So as all of you know, our computer understands only your ones and zeros. That is, the language of our computers is digital. Okay, then it becomes very difficult for we human beings to tell everything in terms of ones and zeros. That is, say for example, if I want to tell, if I want to give a command to the computer saying that copy 5 from C drive to D drive. This is my command. Say I am telling copy the contents or the data from C drive to D drive. Then if I have to tell all these things in terms of zeros and ones, it becomes very difficult and very tiredness means what? It becomes very long code to tell in terms of zeros and ones. So therefore, the inventors came across a language called as assembly language. Now, before moving into this assembly language, you guys might be already knowing that all our computers have a processor, right? So you have seen various processors in your first module as well. Like say for example, the most famous processor we have is Intel. Similar to Intel, you have something called as Motorola as well. That is one more processor, which is a bit obsolete right now. But the one number processor you have is Motorola. Now, when you speak of the processors, every processor has its own understanding capacity. That is, the language which it understands is different from the other. Like say for example, Intel processes the data in the form of 8 bits. At once, it will process 8 bits. But whereas Motorola processes somewhere around 16 bits. This is just a vague example. So that means every processor has its own way of reading the data. It means that, like say for example, if I just write copy, if I just write say copy, then your if I just write copy, then your say, or if I just write C, then the Motorola may take it as somewhere around 12 bits. It will take it as 12 bits, and the Intel will code it as 8 bits. That is, the whole C, which is data, is coded in the 8 bits in your Intel, and the whole C data in Motorola is coded as 12 bits. So every processor, what I am trying to tell is, every processor has its own way of processing the data. So like that, if I have some n processors, then n different ways of processing the data will be there. So therefore, it becomes very difficult for your processors to make exchange. Like say for example, if I am trying to send a data from an Intel processor to a Motorola processor, then it becomes very difficult for both of them to communicate. In order to avoid this, we came across something called as your assembly language. Okay. Now, as you can see here, most of our human understandable notations will be used for your machine level language. Okay. So, as I told you, there is a complete set of symbolic names, and these symbolic names are called as your mnemonics. So, like say for example, if I want to copy a data from one place to another place, like say I want to move, right? So, what is the command we use? Say if I am speaking in English, then I will say MOVE. So, this is my move. So, this is my English command, or this is my command which I am trying to give to your system, right? Then its symbolic name is nothing but it is MOV. So this symbolic name is called as nothing but it is mnemonics. So I hope the meaning of mnemonics is clear. Mnemonics is nothing but a symbolic name using which we will be setting some rules which are usually called syntax. Using these mnemonics, we will be setting the rules and we will be writing the code so that it is easily understandable for the computer level language as well as to the human beings. Okay friends, so this rules whatever I am speaking right now, you might have already heard of these rules. There will be always a set of rules which will govern the data transfer from one place to another place. From one place to another place, it means that from one system to another system or from one drive to another drive. It could be, when I say from one drive to another drive, it is nothing but from one memory location to another memory location. It could be from one memory location to another memory location. It could be from one memory location to a register, or it could be from a register to a memory location, or it could be from a register to another register. Instead of here M, I will be taking what now? From one register to another register. Right? So if I want to do this movement, then I would require a language which is nothing but your machine level language. And it is always governed by set of rules which we call as syntax. Now, to make it more understandable, let us take a simple example. Like say for example, I want to move your, I'll just erase out some things. Yeah. Yeah. So now say for example, I want to move certain things from one place to another place. Like say, I'll write move, I want to move the contents of R0 or the R0 to one variable called as sum. Okay. I want to move the contents of R0 to the variable sum. From R0 to the variable sum. Now, if I want to move this is nothing but an English word, right? Now, if I want to move the same thing, I will be using your mnemonics. The mnemonic for move would be, as we have already seen, it is MOV, right? For now, you don't take this into consideration. We'll consider MOVE itself is our mnemonic. That is, to copy the contents of R0 to sum, the mnemonic or the symbolic name I am using is MOVE. That's all, friends. So this is what we have discussed till now. Now, what are rules? We spoke of some rules now. What are these rules? These rules are nothing but after the symbolic name, these are very simple rules. After the symbolic name, there should be always a space. Here, in between move and R0, there should be always a space. And after the space, we will be putting a comma. Sorry, after the space, we will be writing the name of the register. This register is nothing but the what? Anybody? It is the source. This register is nothing but it is the source. SOURCE. It is the source. And after that, we will be putting a comma. Then we will be giving another space and then we will be writing our destination. In short, I am just writing it as DST. It means what now, friends? These are nothing but set of rules which are to be followed if I want to copy the contents of R0 into the memory location sum. So what are the rules? I'll just give you a revise. First, we need to write a symbolic name which is MOVE. Then we should leave a space. Okay. Then you should write the source name. Then put a comma, again a space, and then we should write the destination. Okay, friends. Now this is one way. Like say now moving ahead, say for example, I want to do a specific addition. Like I want to do addition of your immediate numbers, or if I want to use an immediate addressing mode, then there will be a small change. Like say for example, this is my mnemonic for addition, say ADD, right? This is the mnemonic for addition. Okay, instead of writing ADDITION, we are just using ADD. Then if I am using immediate addressing mode, then I have to put a small notation here which is nothing but I. Okay, so this becomes what now? ADD I is nothing but immediate. Addition, immediate. So if I want to do immediate addition, what I will write now? Say the number 4 comma R1. So what is happening here now? We are adding an immediate constant value 4 to the register contents R1. That is nothing but we are adding this 4 to the register contents R1. So this is nothing but your addition. So I hope friends you are clear with your assembly language. Assembly language is nothing but what now? It is a language which is understandable by both the computer as well as the operator, and it is made up of symbolic names which we call them as mnemonics. The assembly language is made up of mnemonics, plus it also is governed by set of rules. It is governed by set of rules, and these are some examples. I hope this is clear. Very simple. Now moving ahead, we will see the next thing. Yeah, so moving ahead, we'll see the next thing. The next very important thing we need to see is what is an assembler. So when we have studied your assembly language, the next very important thing is an assembler. So an assembler is nothing but it converts your machine level language into your assembly level language into a machine level language. So what is your assembly level language now? Assembly level language is something which is written by your person or human being, say your user. Say a user is writing this assembly level language, right? Then what is the work of the assembler then? What is the work of this assembler? This assembler will convert this assembly level language into a machine equivalent language. Now I hope you are getting it. This assembly language will be in any normal form, like say for example move a comma b, add a comma c, and so on. Yes, that would be converted into machine language equivalent. What is machine language equivalent? This depends on what processor you are using, whether you are using your Intel or whether you are using your Motorola. Based on that, this conversion will be done. And who is doing this conversion? Your assembler is doing this conversion. Okay, now to be more specific, what is machine language? It is nothing but this is in the form of zeros and ones, right? I hope you know this. This is in the form of zeros and ones. And what we need to do now, what is the assembler doing? It is nothing but it is converting your assembly level language into this zeros and ones. Okay, now the next very important thing is, like say for example, you have a user and he executes a program, and he types or he gives a command in the which language now? Assembly language. Then what will happen? It will invoke a assembler program. So first he will write some program here, then that program, what it will do? It will invoke your assembler, and once this assembler is invoked, what it will do? It will check your syntax of this program. You have already seen. It will check the syntax. It will also check whether all the rules have been followed, all the semantics have been followed, all these things have been followed or no. And then it will generate a machine language program which is equivalent to your assembly language program. Now very important thing here is whatever the user types, that is called as source program. You can see here, yes, and whatever the output, that is the machine language, whatever the machine language program it comes out here, it is called as object program. Whatever the other name is machine language equivalent program, or it is also called as target program. It is also called as object program. Now these patterns then will be taken up by the processor. Whatever the machine language equivalent are there, these things will be taken by your processor. For now, for us example, we have taken Intel and Motorola, and then they would be executed. Okay, so I hope this is clear how your assembler is working. Okay friends, so yeah, so I hope assembler is clear. Very simple thing. It just converts your source program, that is whatever you have written, into a machine language equivalent program, and it is done with the help of the assembler. Now what are these databases? Databases are nothing but, as I told you, it will be checking a set of rules, that syntax, semantics, all those things that are present inside this database. Okay, so now next very important thing you have is something called as assembler directives. So assembler directives, one second friends, let me check the, yeah, so maybe assembler directives I will cover in the next class. For now, you just understand these two important concepts. One is your assembly language and another one is your assembler. Okay, we'll again meet in the next class.